to Ketchup Court. I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood Ketchup man. And yeah, we are right back here for another Ketchup Court recap show. We are going to be presenting what is going to be happening on day 9. Not what is going to happen, because I'm not a soothsayer or anything like that, but mainly what I believe is going to occur on day 9 based on everything that came out on day 8. Yes, just making sure that my mic is on. The thing is on. Yeah, it's on. Okay, we're back. We're back here. So on day 8, Brendan Banfield. We are covering the Brendan Banfield trial. On day 8, Brendan Banfield took the stand and gave what was a mixed bag of his testimony. His testimony did run over onto the next day, so we are gonna hear more from him. But based on the template he has left behind, there is a lot. And I mean a lot that we are going to get into today. So we're going to be breaking down why the defense, to be honest, why the defense case is now in danger of going near out of sight. And also breaking down why the state, even though they have brought their A game, and I've seen it, even though that's the case, I think that they are cannibalizing their own theory at the same time. What do I do on this channel? I do full trial recaps of cases like this one. A full trial recap will follow once the verdict is received, recapping everything that has happened at this trial. And I also do weekly and daily recaps as I am doing right now. And I basically treat trials as a case study, focusing on the strategies that are going on, witnesses, etc., how witnesses' behavior, how the jury might be perceiving it, etc. Yeah, I one day want to become an attorney one day, and hopefully this is like observing these things would prepare me, kind of put me in the mindset. Anyway, enough with all of that. Like I always like to start all of this this particular show, is that I will always provide a clip that best characterizes what we saw on the previous day. In this case, day 8. So let's go ahead. This is the Ketchup Court Recap Show. Welcome to the show.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
That clip is from Iron Man. If you've seen well-known movie from the Marvel Universe where Tony Stark became a superhero, and you're gonna understand. I'm going to go back to this clip, and you're going to understand why I presented it the way that I did. That kind of characterizes everything that happened yesterday, because gosh, there is a lot to get into. So the defense is presenting their case in chief now, right? And they are going and they have finished off testimony by Harry Litsky, and like I said earlier, they had introduced Brendan Banfield as their witness. He is, of course, the defendant. He has chosen to testify. So, yeah, let's just get into it, because the reason why, and the first witness I'm going to go into is what's his name? Harry Litsky. Harry Litsky. Yeah, so this particular witness was, in my opinion, he was brought in to dismantle primarily the catfishing theory that was presented by the state. And I do think and the moments that I've highlighted here that I'm going to go into are the moments that I felt they did establish something, and then how the state had responded to that. So I'm gonna go straight into before I go straight into Harry Litsky testimony, because what he's testifying about, I think, will have a knock-on effect in what's gonna happen tomorrow, in how Brendan Banfield is going to be cross-examined if that happens. I said tomorrow. It's really today. I do apologize. Today, I don't know what I'm saying tomorrow. Is going to basically impact how Brendan Banfield is going to be cross-examined. And I think a lot of the things that Harry Litsky testified to will be used against Brendan Banfield. And here is before. So there was a key testimony that I'm not gonna play, but I thought it's good to note, and it was the steps data that was testified to by Litsky. He basically said that Juliana at 7:43 a.m. had taken around, I don't know how many steps he take, but he basically said that the steps from 7:24 a.m. to 7:43, there was no steps, and then she started taking steps afterwards. And she was parked at a car park. This is a bit contradictory because she said, Juliana Magalhaes, if you cast your mind back to her testimony, she said that she was at a cul-de-sac. The one thing I didn't like about that testimony that was given by Litsky is that it wasn't specific to which car park she was in. I had the impression, and maybe the jury may have had this impression as well, who knows, that she was in the McDonald's car park. I don't know why that would be my fault, but the car park was mentioned, and the context in everything that they were talking about McDonald's and going to those businesses. So that was the gist of that was the value of that testimony, really, to show concrete evidence that there's a contradiction with what Juliana Magalhaes had testified to, further harming her credibility. So now when we go into this particular testimony that is being made in regards to the login activity with the account that was pretending to be Christine Banfield, because it was established on this day that somebody had made a Gmail account posing to be Christine Banfield, and they presented the personal account of Christine Banfield and showed it. It was on the same day, showed it. So now we're getting into the use of these accounts.
This in is defense exhibit number 239.
Any objection? No objection. 239.
And I apologize, if you could explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the significance of how 237, 238, and 239 connect.
Judge, objection asked and answered.
Sustained. Next question.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's a Fairfax thing, right? That every objection will be sustained. Not that it's bad or anything. It just seems to be that in Fairfax County in Virginia, if you watch the trial in full, you will know that the defense has so many sustained objections, and it just reminded me of Deb v. Heard. You know, when Elaine went back on to redirect, and she just kept getting sustained. It was like deja vu all over again. If you're watching this, if you are able to go back and watch it, that's literally the theme as the testimonies were going on. But to be quite fair, the lawyer was a bit inept, in my opinion. I should be nicer, but there were issues with the way that he was presenting his evidence.
Sir, on the right-hand side, it indicates, or what, if anything, does that item indicate, that artifact?
On the right-hand side, we have the IP address, which hasn't changed. It's a login. These are all logins. The date and time. This is now the 7:48 event. And then in the evidence information, a few lines down, the source is the determining record for whether or not this is from the C. Banfield RN account or the CBRN 920 suspect account. And that's just, to tell them apart.
And if you can, explain the significance of the CB Banfield RN account and the CBRN 920 account.
The C. Banfield RN account is what I've come to know as Ms. Banfield's legitimate sort of personal email. The CBRN 920 account is the one we've been referring to as the alleged suspect account. That's the one that was created to set up FetLife and then to facilitate communication on Telegram as part of the meeting with Mr. Ryan.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to the next slide.
Let's move on.
I already have 186 and
And
Being displayed.
so you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury regarding your analysis of this.
So these are FetLife communications. These are for outbound communication or messages from the account purporting to be that of Ms. Banfield. These are all on the morning of February 13th, and they're all in or around overlapping with the time frames of the Gmail login accounts or login events that we were just discussing.
This is important because their theory of the case, the defense theory of the case, is that Christine, if we cast our mind back to the opening statements, Christine had full control of the devices. The state is saying that Brendan actually had control of Christine's devices. So this is kind of the strategy that's trying to tether that understanding to say that no, actually Christine had her own and somebody else made a fake account.
Identifying them, how are you identifying whom is speaking to whom?
So the far left-hand column, 163633905, that is the user account that's associated with the account purporting to be that of Mrs. Banfield's.
And those are all outgoing comments?
They are. This has been filtered just to reflect the outbound ones.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to move to the next slide. This would be identified as Defense Exhibit 241. Sir, can you identify that?
I can.
And if you can explain, is this, how did you come to receive this, and how did you rely upon it in your analysis?
This was a document received from the Treasury Department's Inspector General office. It was provided to the Fairfax County Police Department and provided to me as part of a stipulation of records. This particular record is for the Easy Pass toll device that was assigned to Mr. Banfield.
And is that identified in the third column?
As the transponder or
Upon
location of Mr. In particular on the more
You can testify.
explain to
assigned it, yes.
what, if anything, modified to.
It's a
And so in looking at these records,
transponder, so it used it for
241, what 2023?
so
Okay, so what they have done, I cited the wrong timestamp, but what they have basically just established is the work the work devices pertain to Mr. Banfield. So this is the part that I wanted, which E is going to testify to the inconsistency with the FedLife account and it being with the inconsistency that with the FedLife account being a catfishing account that is inconsistent with this state's theory, basically.
there were 4 entries of on that date, 2 eastbound on the Dulles Toll Road and 2.
I think I went too far, but it's but I went too far. I went too far ahead. Apologies for this, guys. Yeah, I went too far ahead. But mainly speaking, he gave testimony in regards to the login and how this is different from the Gmail account that was made by that was made by the imposter and also by Christine. I don't know what has basically happened right there, but I'm gonna go into the cross-examination because the main reason why I was going through a bit of that was to show what was going on here, because it was on cross-examination that this particular detail came out in regards to the device that was being used by Brendan Banfield and also Christine being in the same home. Let's watch.
Message to Brendan Banfield, I think it's Facebook Messenger again, saying that she's going to bed, bring up the toilet paper, and Brendan responds, I'll be up in a couple, correct?
I remember that, yes.
Okay, and then we see that Christine's phone, again, the phone, continues to browse Sheen, nursing schools, and pens, right?
Sounds familiar.
Okay, meanwhile, literally 2 minutes later, Telegram is in use on the laptop. Correct?
Sounds accurate.
Right, so on the dot, midnight, that Telegram call takes place on the laptop. 2 minutes after her husband says, I'll be up in a couple. Correct?
Sounds accurate, yes.
Okay. Moving to February 21st, this one didn't fall into your timeline, but did you see
what just happened there? And this is the best part of the cross-examination that was done by the state, because they have narrowed the scope straight to Brendan, because what the defense had done was on the laptop that was being testified to, that the time from 9:14 I think to 11, around that time they were saying that there was catfishing activity going on, and around that time was the same email address that was the fake Christine Banfield. And there was also communications going around at the same time on the FetLife account, I believe, either that or the Telegram. I believe I have one of the two, that this was basically showing that somebody was basically catfishing, and it wasn't, and in that time the laptop was not being used, so it couldn't have been Brendan. That's what they were saying. Laptop was not being used, and around this whole time was when the catfishing was going on. So what has happened here is to basically connect that laptop to show that he could have been using any other device other than the laptop, because he does have a mobile phone that he uses. It now brings it back and say, look, but this guy, he was using it too, and he also used Telegram. Now, there was no Telegram messages brought out to say what he was using, but it was just the use of Telegram. So it's still not established whether it was the Telegram that was speaking with Joe Ryan. That's what I didn't hear from this particular cross-examination, because I believe if we did, then the defense would have objected as speculation. But it's very important because it shows that Brendan does have Telegram. Now, that was a great piece of evidence to bring in. But the issue that I found was when the state introduced this particular evidence that I thought, why would you do this? And it's in regards to the results that was made. So if you have any thoughts into why the state may have introduced this evidence, let me know, because I was a bit stumped, but I'm gonna give my thoughts after.
From 9:25 to 9:40, the laptop is looking at Dominican resorts, correct?
I believe that's accurate, yes.
Okay, but for 2 minutes, 9:35 to 9:37, when someone hops on Telegram real quick, sends a message, and then pops back off, right?
That is accurate, the timing.
We don't see Telegram in use on the laptop again until 11 o'clock that night.
Correct.
The same time that we see Christine Banfield's phone pick up the search for Punta Cana resorts, correct?
It wasn't a search, it was a message with a link to a specific resort.
Okay, great. The phone gets busy planning this vacation, accurate?
Sure, yes.
Okay. You pointed out that there was a gap in the phone usage from 9:51 to 11 o'clock when it picks up with the resort, correct?
That was only with regard to either messaging or website visitation.
Okay. You can't say that Christine and Brendan weren't planning a family vacation, can you?
I can't say they weren't.
Correct.
And this is where I was like, okay, because the state's theory is he wants to kill his wife to be with Juliana. Planning a vacation with Christine doesn't seem aligned, in my eyes anyway, to that theory. It doesn't seem to make sense. Why would he want to do this if he's gonna get rid of her anyway, to be with, and this is closer to the time of the murder, so it's even weirder. So I don't know why this was offered, but I get the context that has been brought in here, because end of the day, we now get that narrow view that is the person that's likely controlling this device would be Brendan, or likely controlling all of what's happening. The Christine going on to go on the vacations, if I was to speculate, it would likely be that Brendan may have told her, hey, we are gonna go on vacation soon or whatever. But again, when it's up in the air, who knows how it's gonna be interpreted, because I just thought that particular fact right there, I don't know, it just didn't seem like, let me put it like this. They have not presented through the state's evidence of the case, they have not presented anything to show that not only were they planning to go on holiday or anything like that. This is just coming out of nowhere. And that's the problem, at least for me. Juliana never testified to it or anything like that. So the next part that I'm gonna go to, because all of this, by the way, all of that testimony, in my opinion, is that they did establish that Brendan's device was at the house. I'm gonna circle back to that point later to expound more, but I want to go into Brendan Banfield's testimony now, because I felt like he was minimizing a lot. And this guy, I usually don't even say that someone is guilty or not, but I nearly broke my rule watching this guy. He gave testimony about how he had a previous affair that goes by the name of Amanda. Let's go watch.
Okay. And had you had a previous au pair before her?
Yes, we had an au pair prior to her. Her name was Amanda. She was with us for 2.5 years.
And so Juliana was your second au pair?
Correct.
And so explain kind of from when she got there in October 21, what were her duties and how did you...
That's all I wanted from that. So Amanda was the second au pair, and then Juliana was the au pair that took over from October 21st, 2021, confirming what also Juliana testified to. He testified also that the relationship got deeper, got more personal around August. So all of that was, in my opinion, it showed that there was a plan to minimize, because we have never heard of anything about a previous au pair. And I feel like if this is Brendan never gave any, I'm not sure, Brendan never spoke with police, so they wouldn't have known what he's going to testify to. So, but then again, like, would Juliana know that there was a previous au pair? Anyway, let's move on to the next part of the testimony, because this part right here, where he gave testimony. Let's just. What's going to happen is he is going to testify to the dating profiles that Juliana had that he basically saw.
At that point, Juliana showed me quite a few screenshots of her dating app. I believe it was Hinge, and the people that were in the Hinge app all had similar names to me. Their names were Brendan and Brandon and Brennan. And these were people that she had matched with on the app.
This made me question his motives, because why are you offering this? that in context with everything that I'm going to show next, which is the next part of his testimony where he testified in regards to going to a shooting range, all of those things, I'm going to play it now. In context with all of that, I'm wondering, why would you give this testimony? Because you're making it seem like not only did Juliana seek you out and just have this affinity of having people that's called by the name of Brendan, she's the one, he testified that she was the one to have sought him out, to have basically made the first move as well. So this next part of testimony was what I thought was beneficial, but in context with everything that he said he's testifying to, I want to see further corroboration for this.
Fundamentals of using a firearm, that you treat all firearms if they're loaded. You never point a firearm at anything that you're not willing to shoot. Things like that, making sure that you understand the safety mechanisms of a firearm, and making sure that you understand range etiquette, that the gun should always be pointed down range. It should never be pointed at another person, things like that.
And is this something that you knew through your training?
Yes, this is something that is also discussed in my trainings.
And so would this training that you're talking about at Silver Eagle be for someone who's never shot a gun before?
Yes, it would be for a kind of a beginner lesson.
Okay.
So.
And she went with you twice, correct?
Yes, she did.
Now.
His explanation for going to the gun range was because, and get this, it was training for his job that he was getting while he was moving from New York to Virginia. So he got a new job as an IRS agent, and he was doing shooting training. I don't know why IRS agents would need shooting trainings, but
was there, in having her come to the range, was there any plan that she was going to back you up on some plan?
I mean, there was no plan at this point when we had gone to the range. There was none of the suspect email account. There was no FetLife account. There was no Telegram messages. None of that existed at the point that we went to the range.
Okay, so that's the impact of Litsky's testimony, and this is probably the only good thing that came out of his testimony, if I'm being honest, because that is objectively true. It was shown through Litsky that the FedLife account was created on the 17th of January 2023 with Juliana Magalhaes' email. That was in evidence. Now that is testified to, yes, this is actually objectively true because we got to see the receipts that was given in regards to going to the gun range at that moment, right? So that was in October and December, as testified to by the custodian of records I forgot Amy. Anyway, nonetheless, the point is, I'm hoping, and I'm probably guessing they might, because the Commonwealth does have the resources to do this, but they might get an expert that is an IRS agent to testify to what he just said and just damage his credibility, because that is a good fact that can't be ignored, and is also contextualized with the contextualize it with the understanding that Juliana mother told her to say to the Commonwealth on the 25th of October 2023 when she was arrested, that when she was arrested, that Brendan was controlling everything. I will end off on this particular clip because I don't want to run over the time. This is supposed to be 30 minutes long, and I'm already 1 minute behind, but I'll just quickly end on this.
The basement. I don't remember exactly what she was doing. I think she might have been getting stuff ready in the kitchen.
Let me just stop you.
So this is what he's going to testify to is him never using Christine's devices, and this is even though they have that one fact in that does deserve an attention from the state and might get an attention on cross-examination and rebuttal testimony. this part right here was just off to me, and you're gonna see why.
Prior to that time, which would be February 24th, had you ever taken Christine's laptop or taken her phone out of a bag near the door?
No, I don't take her laptop. I have no reason to use her laptop. I don't have access to her laptop. It's not a password that I know. I have my own work laptop. I have my own home desktop. I have my own, actually I have two cell phones. I have a personal cell phone and a work cell phone. Our devices were completely separate.
And so, in terms of, that's fine. In terms of the idea of the laptop, where it would be on a regular basis, do you have a recollection of where she would put her laptop?
Christine kept her laptop actually in several places. Sometimes it is by the front door when she gets home. She would have a backpack, and she would bring the backpack and drop it off, and generally go visit Valerie and our dog and me. But usually she would go upstairs and she would bring her backpack with her, and her desk is in the sitting area of our master bedroom. So if you were to go into the master bedroom, you can kind of either go left or right, and to the left is the sitting area, which is where Christine does her work and has her desk and her file and has her files for her job. And if you went to the right, it would be where the master bedroom is, and for a little bit further, the master bathroom. But she didn't also only keep her laptop at her desk. I would say the majority of her use would be sitting in bed with her back against the headboard, while she had TV on or something like that. And when she would be done, she might put the laptop in between her nightstand and the bed, or on the nightstand itself, or back on her desk, generally.
A couple of things stood out to me, right, with his testimony. I just remembered Amber Heard when she gave testimony about, from the Depp v. Heard trial. Amber Heard gave testimony about the incident on the staircase when nurse Debbie Lloyd had to intervene between her hitting Depp, and she threw something at Depp, and Depp had his finger broken at this point. The way that Amber Heard was explaining all of that events, the mezzanine was on the top floor. You have to go next to the left, and then next to the right, and then once you go, and not just that incident. It was also another incident in December that she also explained how to use the penthouses and go into different areas. Why is he talking about Christine's resting her head on the headboard? The other explanation is what I'm trying to say, because that just, if it doesn't sit right with me, it's probably not going to sit right with the jury, is what I'm trying to say, because that's just too over specific for something you just have to say no. And I find it very hard to believe also that you will be married for 10 years or something like that, and you just don't share passwords. I don't know. But on some level, I can see some relationships just having their own privacy and all of that. On top of all of this, he also gave testimony, and this is why I said it just seems to be weird in context with what he said about Juliana going at him. He also gave testimony about him having an affair with other au pairs, and also Christine having an affair as well. What's going to come on cross-examination, I feel, is going to be especially focusing. I hope they focus on the gun range, and I hope they focus on the other affairs, because that to me is where everything is lying. Because end of the day, he has made himself look like a serial cheater. He has copped out to basically showing that the relationship was not great, but it's not going to rise to a level of killing her because of the virtue, based on the evidence presented, they were likely going on holiday. I can see that the defense making this argument, and they don't have the burden to prove any of this, except that maybe he is pleading self-defense, so maybe they have to prove some part of the self-defense part. But in terms of the actual theory in killing Christine, they don't have to prove that. They just have to prove that her life was in danger and he had to shoot because, and they already have something that reasonably infers that, which is Ryan's DNA on the knife. So this is all the evidence that the state has to consider and have to literally fight back, because there have been no attack in all of this, in all of day 8. I was hoping that they would actually attack the use of the Gmail account created by Juliana, the use of that Gmail account to create the FetLife. I thought they were going to attack that. Nope. It was just attack to link the laptop to Brendan Banfield. And to make matters worse, they end up saying you still can't determine who is behind the screen, which is their theory, by the way, which is, this is me circling back, which is what they were basically saying all through this, that you can't put someone behind the screen, which is weird to me, because if your theory is based on someone catfishing somebody and you have someone testifying to it and no data to put Brendan as part of that, and even through all your presentation of evidence, you don't bring in any evidence to show that Juliana was coerced to do all of this, that we didn't hear anything that she was being held at gunpoint. It was just the fact that they were going to start a new life together, and there's nothing to protect. If they don't, at the very least, bring it back to, at least on the cross-examination, I'm hoping they do this, bring it back to Brendan actually coercing Juliana to make that FetLife account, one way or the other. That's what they have to do. If they bring Juliana back, of course it's limited because she can't just go back and testify to what she did. They have to somehow use the openings to kind of present experts to give a way that shows that, because there are just so many facts that is persuasive for the defense. I'm not gonna front, I can see why the state has really improved, has stepped up their cross-examination game and all of that, but their case in terms of what they have presented so far is very weak, in my opinion. But anyway, the reason, like I said though, the reason why I chose that clip at the start, from the Iron Man clip, is when we got to see Brendan, and I hope you saw it, he actually felt that he could convince all of us with what he testified to, and I can sense some BS there, but he did raise some good points. That's what I believe. He actually felt like he was, yes, I am this person. I can convince you that this is the reality of the situation. Anyway, I am a members only trial monitoring stream is following after the stream, where I'm going to be watching the trial in the Heinz trial room, where I'll be observing the trial, making the reports that I do for the channel, which you can check out on the ketchupcourt.info. I am 10 minutes over the line, and I do apologize for that. I try to keep this under 30 minutes, but there were some unforeseen difficulties that I made, so I do apologize for that. But nonetheless, I hope that you guys did have a good time, and I did. Hopefully I've given you an idea of what might be coming in the next day, and giving you a bit of context in case you didn't watch all of day 8 or fell out somewhere. Anyway, if you want to come to a trial room with me and observe with the rest of us, you can, but hopefully, again, I hope I've given you enough. I go by now Heinz, your friendly neighborhood Ketchup man, and I'll see you on the next recap, well, the next preview, I should say, and also hopefully you guys, I'll see you at the trial room as well. Bye for now. Thank you everyone for tuning in for another Ketchup Court live stream. Make sure that you smash that like button as well as hitting that subscribe button to be notified of our future live streams. We go live regularly bringing you case updates and recaps of ongoing trials, so make sure you hurry back on the next live stream. We also have more content on the channel that you can binge on. Check out the playlist that we have showcasing all of these contents. Without further, I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood ketchup man, and I'll see you back in